Welcome back to the urban farmyard where this city girl goes country. In today's video I'm showing you how I bring a new cat or kitten into the home. What do I do? Where do I get them set up? How do I manage them in the first few days? Let's go take a look. Well, bringing a new cat or kitten home is a really exciting time, but it's also a time where we get a lot of questions from new cat and kitten parents wanting to know how best to introduce their cat to their new home. So today we're going to take a look at that. Now, if you've seen my first video on preparing to bring your new cat or kitten home, you will see that a cat carrier is one of the things on my list. So on adoption day, you want to get your cat carrier set up. I try to put something nice and warm and cozy in the bottom, like a blanket, a cat bed or a towel, just to give them something nice to nuzzle into on their way home. When you collect your new cat or kitten, pop them in the cage and make sure the cage is really secure before you take it out of the rescue centre and into your car. What I would also do is bring a second towel or blanket along with you and drape it over the top of the cage. The reason for that is cats tend to be a lot calmer and feel a lot more secure when they're in a nice dark spot. That's actually one of the reasons why cats enjoy little boxes and hidey holes. It will also help to keep your new cat or kitten a lot calmer and quieter on their journey home. When I'm taking a new cat or kitten home, my preference is usually to sit the cage beside someone so that you can sit and chat to them on your journey home. If I'm taking them home on my own, I tend to put the carry cage on the passenger seat in the front so that I can pop my hand in the cage through the wire. Don't open the cage in the car, but I can put my hand into the cage, give them a little bit of a scratch, and also just sit and chat to them on the way home. It helps to keep them a lot calmer. Once you get them home, you need to decide where to set them up. Now, for the first 24 hours, I don't give new cats or kittens access to the entire house. A house is just too big for them to settle comfortably when they're brand new. What I do is choose a much smaller area, usually a bathroom or a bedroom. It needs to be somewhere where you're comfortable setting up their litter tray and their food and water bowls, and also needs to be somewhere where you can cope if they have the odd little accident. We don't tend to find that we have a lot of accidents with cats that we release from our rescue centre, but it can happen. Now, my personal preference when bringing a cat or kitten home is to actually set them up in the bedroom. The reason for that is it's a really small space, and it's a space where I spend a lot of time because I spend 8 hours every night asleep in the bedroom. When you're asleep at night is a really good time for your new cat or kitten to get used to being around you. You're nice and peaceful and quiet, you're not doing a lot of moving, and lying down is a position which cats don't find particularly threatening. So they can hop up on the bed with you, nestle into you, sniff you, check you out while you're sleeping, and see whether they think that you're okay. So having chosen the space I'm going to set my new cat or kitten up, when I bring them home, I bring their cage into that space. And what I usually do, because my chosen place is usually the bedroom, I pop the cage on the bed and I just open it up. Now, I'm not going to haul the new cat or kitten out. What I'm going to do is open the door and just let them come out in their own time. What I would usually do is sit with a book or just sit with a glass of wine or a cup of tea and just wait for them to come out. Now, if you've chosen a super confident cat, they will likely be out in no time. They will be out and exploring, checking out their new surroundings. If you've got a more timid one, it will probably take them a little while, and that's absolutely fine. Just leave them to do it in their own time. If you find that your new cat or kitten is taking a seriously long time, and I'm talking hours, to come out of the cage, you can help the process along. Again, rather than pulling them out, I would bribe them with cat treats or meat. Cat treats and meat are a really good way to build a bond with your new cat. They learn to associate you with food, and it really helps them to trust you a little more quickly. Once your new cat or kitten is out of the cage, I just sit back and let them explore. Some of them are going to come straight up to you immediately wanting pats and cuddles. Others are going to want to spend a little bit of time checking out their new surroundings. I would let them do that. Let them explore. Let them figure out where the litter tray is. Let them find their new food and water bowls and let them start to just sniff around and see what this new place is like. They're going to be spending a lot of time with you over the next few years, and they need to get to know their new surroundings. In many cases, if you've introduced them to somewhere like a bedroom, you'll find that they may well go under the bed and hide. Again, that's completely normal and I wouldn't worry about it at all. Don't try to haul them out, just give them their space and let them come out in their own time. When I've been working to rehabilitate particularly nervous cats, I've had some that have largely lived under the bed for several weeks after coming home. Now, it's very unlikely that you've adopted a cat that has that severe an anxiety problem that they're going to hide for that length of time. But if you have, trust me, they do eventually come out. Now, once your cat is out of the cage and has spent a good amount of time exploring, it's time to start bonding with them. Now, we use cat treats and meat to form a really close bond with our animals here. It really helps to build trust. So what I would do is each time they come and hang out with you, give them a pat and give them a treat. It helps them to associate you with food and helps to encourage them to approach you and want to spend time with you. I would also start to get them into a feeding routine. Now, with all our animals here, we free feed 24/7. What that means is our cats and kittens have access to dry food all the time, and they can come and go and eat as much or as little as they choose. It's a common misconception that cats will just gorge themselves on every last biscuit. Their natural tendency is actually to graze. So what I would do is give them access to their dry food permanently in a bowl or a gravity feeder and make sure they've got a good supply of water next to it. Now, I absolutely do feed our cats and kittens meat, but what I do is I feed that to them in the evening, around about 6 o'clock at night. Now, I get them into an evening feeding routine because once you start to let your cat or kitten outside, it's a really good way to encourage them to come in for the night and then to spend the evening inside, indoors, where they're nice and safe. So, from your first evening home with your new kitten, set up that new feeding routine. Choose the time of day that you're going to feed them, whether it be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, it's entirely up to you, and present them with a delicious bowl of tasty wet food. There are many to choose from, so choose one that you think that your cat is going to love. Now, my personal preference is not to feed any of our animals meat first thing in the morning. The reason for that is you are actually encouraging them to wake you up because they're going to be wanting their breakfast. And although you may set their official breakfast time as 8 a.m, it is very likely that they are going to wake up in the early hours of the morning, usually when it starts to get a little bit light outside, and they're going to start coming and demanding their breakfast. So my strong advice is to give them access to dry food during the day. Don't give them meat in the morning and save those tasty meat treats to the evening. Now, one of the reasons why we've kept your cat or kitten contained to a smaller area like a bedroom or bathroom is we want them to remember where their new litter tray is, and we want them to be reliably using it before they're given access to the rest of the house. A house is a really big space, and for a little person who's just come home, it can be really overwhelming. And so if you give them access to too big an area to begin with, it's very likely that you're going to have accidents. What we're looking for in the first 24 to 48 hours is for your cat or kitten to be A, using their litter tray, and B, using it reliably before you give them access to anywhere else in the house. Once your cat or kitten has been home for at least 24 to 48 hours, it's time to review whether you can let them into the main part of the house. What I would be looking for at that stage, firstly, is that they are relating well to you. If your cat or kitten is still super scared, I would keep them in that confined area for longer. What you're looking for is for them to be nice and confident in approaching you and not completely spooked. If they are confident enough, then what you're also looking for is that they are using their litter tray reliably and consistently in the smaller area. If they aren't yet using it reliably, don't let them out into the rest of the house because it's just going to make that worse. Once you let them out into the rest of the house, you need to be super vigilant with doors and windows. You need to keep them 100% closed 100% of the time. The reason for this is you really need to keep your cat or kitten inside for a full 4 weeks. 4 weeks. The reason for this is cats or kittens see home as a physical place. and your new cat or kitten sees their home as the rescue centre or breeder that they've just come home from. Particularly with older cats, and to a lesser extent with kittens, if you let them outside too quickly, they're going to panic, they're going to become disorientated, and they will try to find their way back to the rescue centre. And in most cases, they are not going to be successful and they are going to go missing. So make sure you keep your windows and doors completely closed in the area that your cat has access to for at least 4 weeks. Now, if you've introduced your cat or kitten to a home that has other pets, that's a whole other ball game. There's a separate video on introducing them safely to other pets within your household, so stay tuned for that. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I will see you back here tomorrow.